Hey YouTube, Ranger Roz here, and welcome to First Look, finally, a couple of weeks late. Sorry about that. Like I said, this is about trying new things I've never done before, or at least I don't remember sitting down and watching before, completely at random. Abdo. This is me explaining this for the, 10th time, dude. Come on. So, after this, I have no idea what I'll be doing. Could be interesting. First episode though, ringer. Thoughts? I wish I could say I really like this one. I do. But it didn't go quite the way I was hoping it would go. Nothing against Sarah Michelle Gellar. I got a lot of love for her. I will cut her and, well, anyone involved in Buffy the Vampire Slayer a lot of slack. I met my wife because of the show, so when I heard about this, I thought it sounded right. Premise sounded interesting enough, and there are certainly. I'm going to try and avoid spoilers in this. I don't know how well I'm going to go with it, but I'm going to try and avoid spoilers. Generally, there were some things that happened during the episode that weren't horrible. There were definitely some twists, some that were expected, some that weren't, but let's start at the beginning. The whole show is based around the premise of one of Sarah Michelle Gellar's characters. She plays two characters in this show. A little bit of props for that. First of Sarah Michelle Gellar's characters, Bridget, you find out in the episode she's a former addict of some description, and that she was charged for prostitution, but she was also the witness of a murder case, and she was given a deal. Get in the witness stand, say, yeah, I saw this murder happening, that's the person that did it, attest to it, whatever, and they dropped the prostitution charge. She was basically being forced into it, from what I can gather from the episode. They didn't really have much of a choice. It was jail time or do this. Which is, a bit, but anyway, she decided, bugger this, ran from the cops, went to visit her sister. This is the first bit where my suspension of disbelief was wondering what just happened. They don't show how she got away. All you know is that she somehow managed to knock a rather large, he was a fairly bulky police officer, trained, he was a police officer, so he'd know how to handle a 5 foot nothing, I don't know, 120 kilo. I don't know how much Sarah Michelle Gellar weighs, but yeah, fairly light young lady without hurting her. How she managed to knock him out, grab his gun, hop a bus and run away, I don't know, and they don't really show. In fact, they don't show at all. I would have liked it if they'd actually shown that. It's just one thing they don't show that really needed to be shown. Or maybe not really needed to be shown, but I would have liked to know how a, 5 foot nothing, 20, 30-year-old woman manages to knock a trained police officer out and nick his gun. Answers? No? Okay. Bit weird. So you follow that along, goes to meet her sister, meets up with her twin sister, also played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. In this episode there isn't a lot personality-wise that splits them up. Bridget is sarcastic. Siobhan, I think, it's not spelled like that, it's spelled Siobhan. Siobhan, I'm guessing it's like Celtic or something. Yeah, Siobhan is kind of uptight, kind of snobbish, I guess, but it really just does pretend in their scene together that she's just talking to herself. They needed to separate Siobhan from Bridget a little bit, and Bridget from Buffy. The personality she gets for Bridget is really just a rehash of Buffy, and again, I've got no problem with that. But Bridget isn't Buffy. That is shown several times in it, but the sarcasm that comes along is just, yeah, the same sarcastic humour we were used to from Sarah playing Buffy. So yeah, after meeting up with Siobhan, she takes Bridget out on a speedboat. Bridget goes to sleep, wakes up, Siobhan's missing, there is a medicine container, and her engagement / wedding ring is in there. All of her identity papers has been left back at her beach house. Does anybody else sense a setup here? It's entirely possible. This leads into one of the twists I don't want to spoil, because you could see it. I'm sure you can guess from what I've just said. You could see it coming. I'm not going to say it was well revealed. It really was just a sort of, okay, we need to at least show some of what happened to Siobhan. Here you go. So yeah, I think you can figure that out from there. My apologies if anybody actually wanted to sit down and watch this. Yeah, sorry. My bad. So yeah, the ring's left behind, all the paperwork's left behind, so Bridget does the smart thing. Instead of calling the cops or something, she takes her sister's place. The sister she hasn't spoken to in years. The sister she really doesn't know anything about her life. Is anybody else sensing that this may have a slight problem incoming? Yeah, I think the first 5 minutes, the first time she meets her sister's husband, there's an issue. And then she finds some other things about her sister's life that she's not really, she didn't know, probably didn't want to know. So yeah, shenanigans ensue. The problem is, it sounds like, as I'm saying this, it sounds like everything's really packed in. Everything I'm mentioning is spread over about a 45-ish, possibly longer minute show. So, I mean, if it was a half hour, cut it down a half hour, 22 minutes, whatever, this would have been fairly packed of bam, 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 bam. Spreading out to 45 plus minutes, it starts to drag a lot. There really was only really a half hour worth of content in this. They dragged it out. Some of the scenery was a bit. I mean, okay, I don't quite understand this. Maybe someone can explain it to me, comments or whatever. Does anybody else understand why someone would want a 6 foot tall portrait of themselves, just a, sort of shoulder up portrait of themselves, sitting, taking up an entire section of wall as they walk into their own penthouse apartment? I don't understand it, but I don't know if it's narcissism at work, if Siobhan had some kind of version of Alzheimer's or something. I don't know. But yeah, her apartment, first thing you see when you walk in is this big 6 foot tall picture of herself. Not sure why you would do that. That apparently either got nominated or actually got an award. Just that for that particular piece of scenery. I would be raising questions as to why that was necessary. That's a blatant disregard for money. That is someone with too much money to burn. And it was a little overspoken from what we knew about Siobhan at that point. it didn't seem to suit her. She came across at that point as a little bit more, I don't know, stressed, uptight, less out there, less in your face, I suppose. Something like that seems that it would have been for someone a lot more up themselves, I guess. So, yeah, Ringer. It's got some interesting points. It's got some interesting plots. It has some twists that I don't actually mind. However, it is so slow. I wish they could have cut it down or come up with some more things to put in there. I won't be continuing on with it. I don't want to say that. It seemed like a good idea, but with everything, the first episode is that stretched out and slow. Yeah, no, I can't sit down and watch any more of it. If anybody would like to defend it, use the comments below. If anybody else wants to see more of what I think about TV shows, subscribe. It's Playtime will be continuing, like I said. I have more G1 for next week. As for next fortnight, well, out comes the magic hat. Pray not My Little Pony. Pray not My Little Pony. Pray not My Little Pony. Please not let it be My Little Pony. I don't want it to be My Little Pony. I know that sounds weird, but I did say to someone, just give me ideas. I'll try anything. And they brought up My Little Pony. Lucky me. This one is going to be... Ooh! We're going time traveling. We're going back in time. We're going to the 80s, to the cartoons of my youth, to one that I never actually watched. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. This could be interesting. I haven't actually... Sitting down and watching an 80s cartoon that I have never seen before. Right. Well, that's for another fortnight. More Transformers next week. Ranger of Oz. See you then.